Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our series The Unported Playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're taking a look at Prop Cycle. Before I get too far involved, we are going to be starting quickly. If you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link down there as well. But Prop Cycle is a super interesting game, and it's mostly down to its arcade cabinet, which does not exist anymore. I don't think you'll ever find one, but it had a full bicycle. You were pedaling to be able to move in the game. So it's almost like an exercise arcade cabinet. Obviously, via emulation, it's not the same thing, but the game is still incredibly fun. And this runs on the Namco Super System 22 board, which had a GPU developed by a company called Evans and Sunderland. And it's not a game that you hear mentioned much in arcade development or any sort of GPU technology. They did a lot of stuff with flight simulators, and funny enough, some of their hardware ended up in a bicycle flight simulator released by Namco. This game is super fun, if not weird. Basically, the core mechanics are you are racing through 3 different worlds on a timer, and you need to bike through these balloons and pop them to get your score up high enough to be able to get past your point total. You'll see on the top right hand side of the screen there, I have 1100 points, and my requirements were 1000, so I've already completed that. But as you get further into the game, the point requirements go higher. What I love about this game is a sense of exploration. There's so many different hidden paths that you need to navigate through. I flew through that waterfall just about 10 seconds back, and now I'm in this cave, and as we come out, one of those balloons is hiding there. So you really need to be creative about the line you take through this game. It almost feels like Tony Hawk except without skateboarding, because in that game you really need to worry about the line through the skate course, and in Prop Cycle you need to worry about your line through the actual worlds. And you'll see there we did miss a few balloons, but there are some hidden ones that are very difficult to find, and your score is going to be maximized by getting those. And I do have these little vignettes in the middle as well. This feels like a PlayStation 1 game except better graphics, but it doesn't use any of the architecture from the PlayStation 1. It's just a similarity they've looked that close, but it would have been interesting had Sony gone with a GPU like something that Evans and Sutherland was making, because this would have been more impressive than what the PlayStation 1 could have done. So as far as emulating this game, it works perfectly fine, but of course you don't have a bicycle that you pedal, so you're missing one of the core mechanics, which is causing your heart rate to go up into sweat. Some people may think that's a good thing, some people may think it's a bad thing, but my idea is it would be really fun to get this game controlling with a bicycle in your living room or in your office, because basically how that worked is there must have been some sort of electronic component in there that was translating how fast you pedaled into an electrical frequency that would then be read as a bit of data that would tell the game how much power you were putting into the cycle. And I'm pretty sure that you could still get that done. It would be fun to see. I don't think I'm going to do it unless all of you want to watch it. It would probably be a lot of money just to make it work, but it would be a fun experiment. But I love just how this game looks. I love how it feels. It's a really unique and interesting title that you have fun with for about 10 minutes, and then you've seen basically all the game has to offer. And the developers of this in an interview were saying that they wanted to make something that hadn't been seen in arcades before. They wanted a gameplay mechanic that was new and unique, and what they ended up doing was creating an entire bicycle that you could sit on around this game, which in and of itself for arcades is unique, but the original NES had a bicycle that you could play one NES game for, basically as a workout trainer. So actually bringing bicycles into gameplay environments is not something that's unheard of in video games. But as far as arcades are concerned, I mean, you definitely sit on motorcycles, snowmobiles, things like that, but a game where you actually have to pedal, I can't think of another instance in arcades where that was a thing. If you do know of one, definitely let me know. I'd be curious to hear about it. But this is just a fun little title to check out, and I love how the Super System 22 looks. It just has a really nice visual flair. It's something unique that you don't see much of, all these colorful graphics. Granted, that pixelation in some of the different effects on the walls there, those textures can be a little bit messy when you get up close, but it was definitely better than something like the PlayStation 1 was doing, but it is really comparable to that system. And I love as the stage gets more complex, you really have to worry about your line, making sure you don't hit things, as now we're in this subway tunnel that seems to go to nowhere but a pit, bad subway tunnel, but you really have to worry about being able to fly effectively through this. When you're playing the game really well, it's amazing, but when you start making mistakes, your run starts going to complete crap. What I'll let you do is just listen to a little bit of the stage. The music's fun and bright and cheery like it would be for a game that looks like this. And I'll be back in about a minute and we'll close out on Prop Cycle and tell you a little bit more about the game. But enjoy.
to solitaire.
So now that we've passed the first 3 levels of the game, we're going on to the final stage, which is really interesting because you only have one chance to complete it. But weirdly, it's the easiest stage in the game. It gives you a massive amount of time to find all the red balloons to pop. And maybe that's just because they wanted you to feel an accomplishment after having played through the first 3 stages. And this is kind of more just like a bonus round. But I love just this little lead up. You get a lot of fun story in the game. It's just a fun game to play. And that's what I like about these smaller arcade releases, especially some of the ones around like more unique control mechanics, is that, you know, within 15 minutes of gameplay, you could see the entire thing. You now know what Prop Cycle's like, and then you can move on with your day. But I love the draw distance in the graphics. You get a little fog element, and outside of flying into that wall completely, I was able to complete the stage with a lot of time left. And I would love to find an arcade cabinet for Prop Cycle. It'd be really fun to be able to play it with that bicycle mechanic, because I'm assuming the game is much harder when you're actually physically exerting yourself. But even balloons like here, it feels great when you're able to really thread those uprights and be able to get that balloon without hitting anything. It just feels like a really unique gameplay mechanic, and the designers that wanted to make something that did feel wholly unique succeeded in Prop Cycle. There's not a game like this, especially as an arcade cabinet, but even just playing it on an emulator through MAME, I can't say that there's anything particularly similar to this, but if you can think of something, definitely leave me a comment below because I'd love to hear about it. But that's the great part about the System 22 from Namco. It has a lot of really visually interesting games, a lot of fun games, and it's running on hardware that you just don't see that often. But you will see there, I was able to destroy all those different balloons really quickly, and now we're blowing up all these towers that have the nuclear symbol on them. So I'm not sure in the story, did we just avert a nuclear blast? Because that's kind of what it's saying to me with those symbols, but I really don't understand. And that last one didn't blow up, so I don't know if I missed something. The game says I've completed everything, but it's kind of a question mark in my head. But short of that, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love chatting with you guys. We will be back next Sunday with our episode in the Unported playlist, and we'll have videos on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday as well. But if you do know of a cabinet of this in the wild, definitely let me know about it. But I will put a link to a photo of the cabinet below so you can see what I'm talking about when I say a full bicycle. Short of that, I love the credits with these little sprites waving to you. But I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.